basically when you get an image like this, you look at it and go like, this is the center of interest, this is the subject, these are the surrounding shapes or elements that give the subject a placement. You can see that if you were to see it beyond the actual image of a figure, a lady painting clouds, it just becomes a group of shapes. So what makes it interesting in terms of artistically is that you just appreciate the shapes and how that are coming together to form the arrangement. So this is a little bit more like a different type of approach, similar to photography, but like you actually get in and actually render the shapes, so you become part and parcel of creating an image, and that's what's actually intriguing about it. It's like poetry in one sense because it slows things down. You begin to appreciate basic elements that give of life, that gives us what we come to see every day, and we just slow the whole process down in terms of looking and actually just appreciate it. So I'm just doing a pure line drawing here at the moment, and I'm trying to get the bulk of the picture in without too many. So like so far I've got the movement of the drapery, you could say. I've got like the angle here. I'm not too worried about like for the moment, not too worried about like how the things are proportionally going to meet each other. So I just want to like get all those shapes in as quick as I can. And now I'm going to just look at all these little areas of division. This is where it slows down, where you begin to appreciate the intersections of all sorts of subtle little areas, and how they come together. So even this little triangle area here becomes a significant feature in how I construct this image. So that's what you appreciate, every part of this, and you just appreciate how the image widens up in terms of there. You connect from here to here and see if it's still working out. So those little things that you keep yourself in check so you don't go astray. I'm willing to now, because I know the arm has a certain length and I know the elbow has a certain length, I kind of just work through all that. Now I have to somehow make little corrections for myself. And so now I can look at the extension of the back. Somehow you're going to get like that area here to give you the width. So I suggest that goes out here. Now with that little bulky area here, you're going to box in and see how far it kicks out and see where it relates to how far down. Might go a little bit further down. How does it relate over here? It's probably down past that. And now I'm going to take it in, the bulk of it here as well, and I'm going to cut it over, and I'm going to do this bit, and I'm going to just take a wild guess. Just keep it now. If this is pretty okay, I'm going to take a wild guess that that's the overall procedure there. Now I have to be very careful when I extend beyond the shoulder area, because I think I've got this reasonably well proportioned. I might have to kind of, she'd prefer, I presume, as a lady, to kind of make her arm a little bit narrower, and maybe just a little outcrop here just needs to be put in. So Sufi's it's pretty good. I can raise. I was a little bit careful last image about the head area, so I was a bit, that came in and it slightly distorted my appreciation of where it was located. So that's the bulk of the quick drawing. I'm not going to put too much detail in at the moment, or put too much. I could get a sense of that's hair. I could get a sense of this is where. Now it's a little bit confusing when you get all that together. I'm going to now see where that arm rises up above that and how small it is. So I'm going to take it in. This is quite a little nifty area here. Now you have to be careful, right? But I'm just going to go ahead because I don't want to be. So far I just went at it, and sometimes for me it's best to just do it and not worry, because if you start worrying about what you're doing and how you're doing it, you kind of mess up a little bit. It's not connected with that. So that's just to raise up. Again, because the last image I made, I was a little bit more confused about that. So I'm going to raise it up a little bit. So that's that, and it's going to drop down here. And that. Now, the hand, yeah, it's okay. We'll do it for the moment. So that's a quick little drawing, right, in relation to it. Now, I'm going to go over it again so that you get the gist of it. I'm just going to finish that off. Get the angle up here, right? And it's messy, but that's the gist of it, right? I'll just put these little trees in here as a kind of way. So this is what's called counter drawing, right? I don't know how long I'm going to give myself to draw these things, but like I'm going to just place that in that area here, just nicely tucked in between the two, in between that kind of cavity of her arm and her rest of her body. So this is just going to give it a nice little finishing off process. So these are the little bits of foliage that are surrounding the person. Just a little bit of, I won't do any shading, so I'm just doing a little bit of line work just to kind of emphasize texture, so that you're kind of differentiating. Now, normally what I could do here, if I want to be a little bit like, just break that line so that you have that soft openings of that that butt, and get back in and just create again little elements of. This is where what you're trying to do is you're trying to create visual interest by contrast. So I'm creating by just simple movements of my pencil, little round configuring. So these are doing two things. They're kind of denoting those little flowers there, but they're also creating a pattern of line work that is different in other areas. So I'm treating it a little bit differently because it's actually, this is the appearance of it. So the more I do this, then the more I build up a kind of rich areas of texture and shading as well. So that's it. I might as well just put in the horizon line just so that it's actually, now the horizon line I can just check it off from here, here, and here. It goes over here. Probably it's a good idea if I kind of don't make just a big heavy line, because it's very distant and very subtle. So if I do it that way, and I might as well just put in the cloud. I haven't done it in the last image, but like since this image is just pure line work, I can just put it in. Again, I'm seeing it all as a little dotty thing, and that's that. And her hair pops out like that as if she's kind of been blown in the wind. And again, perhaps a nice element for the line work, right, is to kind of, since I'm doing this fairly quick, I can kind of emulate the directions and the flow of various things without putting too much detail in, or too much shading in. Just put in enough just to kind of like create a little bits of crackle at the edges, and a little bit of emphasis on all those areas that are significant. Now I think I had that line in as a kind of what you call a structural line. I don't think it's actually there in the picture, so I might remove that, and any other little traces I could remove as well just to get it. So now one last little, I could do this to a finished drawing, more nicer, but I want to keep the little thing short. It's nice to kind of make the weights of some lines a little bit heavier, so there's a little bit of I'm going to establish a little bit of weight here by a little bit extra, because if I darken this a little bit more without making it a black line, it's going to give solidity to the figure, and just again direct these lines out and down so that you're actually connecting with the rock surface and that she's actually sitting on, because these are the details. Let's say if you're writing a story or reading a book, You know, if you have no idea where the characters were doing or where they are, where they were located, it would be significant information would be left out. So this is kind of a little bit similar. Again, I don't want to get carried away here. Just wonder now, when you have in areas like that are kind of like a little bit intense here. Didn't mean to go that way. It's just automatic for me. It's nice just to let them flow out. Put in an extra couple of lines. In other words, let the thing bleed out in a way that actually is kind of interesting to kind of fill those areas. So just a little bit more here, just to bulk it out. I could just, again, disperse those flowers going off in a certain way. Now, I have a tendency I could shade and do all sorts of things here, but I'm just going to leave it. I could just do a couple of wave patterns, perhaps, just to distinguish it. And just another, again, a sequence of little lines out here will help this distribute. I could do a whole pile of things up here, but I'm going to leave it. This is it for now. Thanks for that.